Ready.
Bud Light. We
Hey, how is everybody doing today? This is Shane House and Josh DVD Van Paris here with our 2021 mock draft for the NFFL Invitational. Josh, how you doing today, bud?
I'm 8 beers deep, maybe coming on 10 right now. But we're having a good we're having a good night, man. I don't know. It's Thursday. It's beer Thursday night, bro. What can you
It's a fucking fantastic night, buddy. I'd say 6 or 7 beers deep myself, so this should be a good fucking time. So what we are here for today, ladies and gentlemen, ladies is for Louis, is that we're doing just a first round mock draft, something very simple, little content for the people because they've been craving it. Little bit of a slow news week past couple weeks, so why not fucking go for it, right, buddy?
Man, are we live right now? What the fuck's going Let's go, man.
Absolutely, we are live. Now, the thing is before we get started, I bought some equipment recently. We got to get at least one sponsorship in. So, Josh, you have the script. Why don't you read off our sponsor?
I would just like to thank our sponsors, Bud Light. It's been we've had 6 tonight. They're pretty good. We got the freezer in the background. It's right there. So I might stroll over and have a couple more as we go. But I actually got a surprise for us later on this mock draft on our sponsorship. So stay tuned. We got a little thing coming up here. I promise you, Shane.
I fucking love it, buddy. I fucking love it. All right. So a little ground rules with this first round mock draft. Firstly, obviously, because my team fucking sucked this year and Josh
So
sold
mine.
no, your team didn't suck as bad, not nearly as bad. You just sold the farm a little bit to do a quick retool for next year. We obviously have a couple picks coming up in the first round draft. So what will happen is I will draft for Josh for the mock draft, and then Josh will draft for me. And then that way it's fair. And you guys aren't fucking getting nothing, by the way. No fucking clue as to what's actually happening. So the first pick that's coming up obviously is mine. So Josh,
Oh yeah, I guess
DVD Van Paris, what do you believe that this fucking guy will do when that pick comes up?
So I just want to make one thing clear. My name is Double D for the fans.
Double D Van Paris. Okay.
So I'll keep this quick. So Shane House, with looking at your team, it makes so much sense for you to draft a running back, right? Add to this good core of young wide receivers that you've accumulated. Jerry Jeudy is definitely not the Double D of this, this fantasy world. He definitely doesn't make the cut. But you know what? There's, Denzel Mims there, Justin Jefferson, there's some young, there's some young wide receivers. I think that the most logical thing, because I think that you're starting to compete. I think that there's no more rebuild. I don't think you can be a pussy anymore. Oh, excuse my French. But hey, I think you should take Najee Harris. But my gut's actually saying with the first overall pick, Shane House is going Chase out of LSU.
What? That is crazy.
Let's start
fucking insane.
Hot. Let's start off hot. So Chase is now off the board, ladies and gentlemen. Mostly gentlemen, mostly no one that's listening to this. Yes, Chase is out. Chase is gone.
Jesus fucking Christ. All right. So I'm going to make this a quick transition then. So with James having the second overall pick, that guy immediately busted a nut when I made that fucking pick. Somewhat justified. Who knows? And that guy immediately runs to the podium because this guy's had a hard on for probably a straight year on this guy.
Did he tear his ACL again, though? Did he tear his ACL?
He might. It depends. Okay. It depends. If there's a security guard at the podium, he might have tried to juke him out, tore his ACL again, or, if it's, yeah. So that guy definitely jumping up and doubling up on a position he doesn't have a need for, because guy might be a little fucked. I haven't talked to him in a while. And drafts Najee Harris. with
All
the
right.
second overall pick.
All right. So now who's at 103? Because I think it's our boy here, man.
Ooh, it is. It is. So next pick is clearly your boy, Double D Van Paris. And this guy, won a championship 2 years ago, made a hell of a run with a veteran team. Very respectable, very respectable. Some people said unearned. I don't agree with it, though. I don't agree with it. Very consistent.
That's fine. I'm going to get a Bud Light as you do this whole thing.
Not everybody is a fan of a consistent team that went. Okay, now that he's off, it's fucking bullshit. Absolute bullshit, but he's not going to know. Anyways, very consistent team. And then obviously veteran teams, they drop off very fast. So the guy's got to rebuild quickly on the fly. And with that crazy first two picks that happened, I think with that third overall pick, I'd say the guy's going to take a little bit of a controversial pick and take Javonte Williams with that pick.
The 103, we go Javonte Williams.
Yeah. So then the number 104 is Harry, and that's all you, buddy.
What is going on here in this shit?
Let's be honest, our league is fucked. So clearly,
I know it's
fucked up shit. Somebody's gonna.
There's a lot of people that don't even know how to spell fuck in this league, but whatever.
There's some people in this league who can't spell GED. Let's be honest.
Some of these people in this league don't have a GED or even an equivalent of a GED. So, anyways. So I get Harry right now, right? A little Harry action. So we got Najee off the board, right? We got Chase off the board.
Javonte Williams with a bit of a reach by
and Javonte Williams, the hugest reach from an apparent champion ever. Okay, so you know what? Looking at this guy's roster, it's kind of, what's interesting. He just lost a running back, right? In Josh Jacobs. That kind of killed him a little bit. Starting to look at that. Yeah, but I also think that his roster makes so much sense to grab the best wide receiver, which was just taken by Shane Gordonhouse. By the way, it's Shane Gordonhouse. I'm actually going to write down here that Harry decides to go out of his fucking mind. No, not a chance. He takes Travis Etienne in
So he takes him at the 104 is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that is.
So again, we have Chase, Najee Harris, right? Can we go through a little rebuild?
Yeah. So Chase, Najee. Then we have Javonte Williams and then Etienne. So that's a good start to the draft. Very realistic. Now, the next two picks are Double D.
they're the kid here. Also, again, we are sponsored by Bud Light. Cool. They are in the fridge. They are ice cold. So yeah, continue, Shane Gordonhouse.
Some say it goes down like water. So the next two picks are Double D Van Paris. And with that Jamar Chase pick, things go fucking off the rails with this one. I mean, let's be honest. So might be scrambled a little bit, but ultimately there are two guys that I feel the Double D Van Paris team will want on their roster.
I think this is pretty obvious.
Cornerstones that he will be looking for. And
also, if you follow my Twitter account, you know who I'm picking here.
At So Sick DVD, by the way. So the problem here is one of them, in my opinion, I mean, we've had multiple discussions about this, about my opinion on one of these picks, but ultimately this is what we think these franchises moving forward will do to make the cornerstones of their franchise moving forward. So with the next two picks of this draft, I truly believe it will be Kyle Pitts, who some people have said is a bust. Some people say is generational. Whatever the weight of those two, who knows? And the man with the flow himself, Lawrence. Let's fucking go. So those are the next two picks by the Double D Van Paris franchise.
I think it's just crazy how quickly you went over Kyle Pitts. Like, do you realize what this man has done? Like, do you understand who this guy is? Like, you just talked over him. Like, you talked to him about like 20 seconds, like maybe not even 20 seconds. Like,
So,
this guy deserves more than 20 seconds, man.
well, I mean, the guy run a 4.4. I do agree. And the guy has generational talent. Absolutely. But it's kind of like like a fucking like a broken record, man. Like every time I hear about the tight end position, every time I hear about these first round prospects, I hear about their measurables, generational talent,
You
their
know what?
incredible athleticism, can play as a wide receiver, and every time they do not fucking produce.
You know what? Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Shanos. It's probably better to trade a second round pick for a backup tight end. Like, it makes so much more sense to do that, right? But moving on.
Guy
Excuse me.
can block.
Sorry.
I mean,
Sorry. Moving on. Who do we have here next, Shane? Is that Mike Millette?
it is where
Is that
hashtag
Team Pack Attack? Is that
yeah, Team Pack Tack, hashtag where's Millette? So this guy, I don't even know if he's fucking aware that there is a draft coming up. But it is his pick. Whether he's aware of it at the time, I have no fucking clue. Whether he looks like the Unabomber when he announces the pick, I also have no fucking clue. But it is his pick. I've heard he's a nice guy. Never found out myself because I've never heard the sound of his voice. So it's your pick, bud.
So also, like, I think Mike Millette's a very nice guy. Really truly do. When we look at this roster, though, I mean, I think this is actually when the draft starts, Shane. I truly do, man. I think that all of a sudden there's been some really good players and some obvious players, but I think that when you start looking at when the draft starts and you start looking at his team, he has DeAndre Swift, who I'm like, you know what, great pick. You know, that running back class was unbelievable last
Fucking
year.
beauty,
So
yeah.
you start looking at that, and then somehow he's got Malcolm Brown as lineup. He became a Miami Dolphin. When the fuck did that happen? But whatever. You start to look at his team. He's got two wide receivers that I actually like that are kind of young. He's still rebuilding, in my opinion. Curtis Samuel and Chanel. Chanel is going to be a beauty. When my boy Trevor Lawrence is just fading him. But I actually think this is a prime target here for a wide receiver. I don't know exactly because he's got Will Fuller too in the bench, but I don't know. There's outside of the top three running backs, there's not really much there. So I say wide receiver here. And it's kind of, I think he either goes one of the two Alabama wide receivers. I think that Mike Millette is not educated enough. Oh,
Wow.
Not educated enough. He's going to take the 165-pound, sponsored by Bud Light, 165-pound Devontae. He's going to take
Devonta.
He's going to take Smith here.
Wow. Okay. So basically, the way you worded this is that it seems like you expect him to pick like the Henry Ruggs, the way you described that. You do realize the guy won a Heisman Trophy as a wide receiver for the first time in 20 odd fucking years, right? Like the guy is a stud route runner, great fucking hands.
I couldn't agree more. He might be either the first or second best see, again, I've been drinking, best route runner in this draft besides Chase. So I also think it's very disrespectful for people to say that he wouldn't have won the Heisman if Waddle was playing. I think that's completely disrespectful. I think that's
100% agree.
Absolutely outrageous. Maybe someone else would try to do a fucking slant route, Michael Thomas. But like, come on, man. Like, no, this guy's a good player. He's a little bit smaller. But again, he's that seems like the right player. I think he needs a wide receiver. The top three running backs are gone. He's not going to reach on one of the other running backs right now. He's going to go wide receiver. This could be Waddle. I'm not going to say that, but I think he goes Smith right now. I think he goes the Heisman Trophy winner.
I kind of agree with you on there. It just, honest to God, really all depends. because he's the unknown, right? Like he's the guy where
I don't think he's an
could go-
unknown. He just won a Heisman Trophy. I don't think he's an unknown.
no, not Smith. I'm talking about where's Millette. Like nobody knows what the fuck this guy's gonna do, right? Like the guy could feel like, okay, I'm struggling at this particular position. I might as well take him. Or he's like, you know what, my QB spot needs some shoring up. I could take that fucking guy too. Or he could reach on a guy like
What does that mean?
Gainwell. But you know what? That's a conversation for a later day. So I completely get it.
So the other pick that I have underneath this is an unassigned team.
So
I love some support here. I don't know.
So the unassigned team is actually Louis' pick, who I've heard doesn't have a pick till 2024. But that's allegedly. I mean, the commissioner needs to confirm this. But in the meantime, this might have been traded like 6 years ago at this point, before the league even started. I have no fucking clue. But all I know is that Harry owns this pick in the first
Harry
round.
owns this pick? Right.
Harry owns the pick. He's got 2 picks in the first round. The fucking guy, I'm telling you right now, this is my team right now. Him, myself, and Millette are all guys. One of the 3 of us is going to be a contender next year. And in 2 years from now, all 3 teams are going to be solid. It just depends on who nails the draft, where there's immediate producers.
All right,
they take for the players. So
it's got a decent roster.
Man, the guy's got a pretty good fucking roster, right? Like it's a lot of good potential on that team. So
this is the 8th pick, right?
I mean, he already has Etienne. That guy, the guy needs a wide receiver, man. I mean, I'd argue. Obviously, I'm a fan of this guy, but he's starting Sterling Shepard, and that guy is more of a
Claypool,
flex.
Shepard, and Higgins right now.
I know, and 2 of those guys are solid. And I'm a big Sterling Shepard guy. I've held him for a while before I traded him to fucking Harry. But he needs something a little more solidified there, a little bit more. Now the question is he leaning towards Waddle? Or is he leaning towards Rashad Bateman? And I feel like this is the point where he's going to see the potential and he's going to go Jalen Waddle here.
I think it's the right pick, man. Not really, actually, because I had Bateman. Me and my own personal rankings, by the way, for the fans, no one's watching this. Bateman is my number 2 wide receiver, but whatever. So we get Jalen Waddle in there, eh?
Mm-hmm.
It's all right. He can slip in there depending on the landing spot. But now all of a sudden his team, right? Let's say he's got Claypool, who needs to stop the TikTok videos unless he wants me to get on TikTok. We got Sterling Shepard and we got Higgins. So now all of a sudden you add Waddle in there. That's that could be all right.
But with Etienne, that's the other thing you have to remember is that
and
with those 2 picks, like he's solidified at the 2 major power spots outside of quarterback. And he's
and as I said, he gets a little bit, he gets fucked over a little bit earlier if he didn't take Kyle Pitts there. If he didn't take Kyle Pitts earlier because his Gronk tight end is a little bit weak. I'm sure he would have loved to have Kyle Pitts earlier based on his roster. If Kyle Pitts would have made sense. But yeah, you know what, man? Like I could see now that Kyle Pitts is off that he can go wide receiver again. I personally think that the 3 running backs are off the board. There's only really good 3 running backs in this draft.
Yeah.
And then it just drops. And then it's just crazy. Then you might as well get Trevor Lawrence. You might as well get the wide receivers. Mm-hmm. And that's what we do right now.
So with
right now
109 at Millette, I mean, who's going to get picked?
Is that Mike Millette again? What the fuck?
It is Mike Millette again.
What's his stupid team name again? Fucking
Pack Attack. It's Pack
Attack. All right.
He's got Hoy's pick at the 109.
So as I said, like again, we're gonna see a string of wide receivers here, man. Like
100%.
That's the way it is. Again, I don't think in a 1 quarterback league right now would you ever grab another quarterback here. It's a little bit too early.
He does have Deshaun Watson, though. That's one thing to remember.
And that's a good point. I actually think he should have been sending out trade offers for him to more competitors to see if he could have done something different to maybe move up a little bit. I think they were rocking right down, but you know what? He needs again the running backs. It doesn't make sense right now to go Gainwell or even Carter. I'm actually not that I'm not that big of a fan of Carter because I actually think he's just Giovanni Bernard in a disguise, in disguise. So really not a huge fan of him. So I think he just goes. I think it's an obvious choice right now. There's still the biggest wide receiver in this draft, still sitting there. He's a big fucking guy, runs clean routes. I get it that his, he came in a little bit less. He started getting on, the keto diet, maybe didn't wear his, big cleats, but I think that it makes sense right now to go Bateman. Bateman's a fucking hell of a player. So
As a fucking beast.
I think again, right, we're seeing that string of wide receivers. We might even continue to do this after this, but yes, let's go Bateman here.
Oh, buddy, Bateman, amazing. I've voiced my opinion on. I think
he's my wide receiver too.
Yeah, same here.
Whatever.
Like the guy is an absolute beauty. So I completely agree with you. And I mean,
by the way, Shane
Trace is unbelievable.
That pick was sponsored by Corona. Also, fuck Corona, and we'll drink it.
Well, thank you for that for that loving reception of Corona. So the next pick is weirdly enough, because the guy, I mean, almost won a fucking championship. It's weird. It's almost insulting at this point. Is fucking Adam Schutt. So looking at his team, I would
love to have the you're lucky. Okay, love to have it, but he's been talking a lot. Hey, he's been talking a lot.
I know the guy's been chatting a lot. I mean, outside of on this podcast, because
it's just a podcast.
I mean, it's we'll get into that later. But the guy does have an unreal team. He had an amazing team that fucking put up this year, almost won a championship. And
and right now he's pissed. I guarantee. Looking at the players right now that've been drafted, Schutt is a little pissed. These are guys that he wanted,
But I feel like Schutt, he's a smart fantasy player. He knows he's not emotional. He just looks at what his team needs and the best player available. And this is a bit of a scary move for a team in the first round. But I personally believe the one weakness that his team has, of anything, is quarterback. Because if anything happens,
whoa.
The guy, listen.
No. I'm saying, are you doing it?
You can argue me all you want.
I'm not arguing anything. I'm saying, are you doing it? It sounds like you're
outside of Ryan Tannehill. This is his bench: Nick Foles, Sam Darnold, Gardner Minshew, personal favorite, terrible fantasy player, and Cam Newton. Can you rely on that moving forward? I can't.
I wouldn't either, because this is a championship fantasy football team.
Exactly.
But I'm not saying anything. It's your pick. I'm just saying.
So my pick for this spot in the mock draft is Zach Wilson. I think the guy is a go big or go home guy. The guy will either be a fucking stud, a Mormon stud, just slaying ass once he's married, or he's going to be out of the league in 3 years, and he's the boomer bust type of prospect.
Yeah, I don't
think that he will probably pick at that spot.
I think that's way too early for a guy that he has second round picks, man. He has second round picks.
Yeah, but he's in a position where he doesn't need to just take necessarily just the best player. I mean, he's strong pretty much every spot. It's more so where his biggest need is, and that's his biggest need on his team.
But him over Fields in fantasy?
Yeah, absolutely. Fields might drop to the 10th pick. Him going to Denver, splitting carries, starts with Walk.
Are we actually gonna have Zach Wilson's going to the Jets? Fuck that, man.
Yeah, I know, but it's Robert Saleh running that offense. They brought over the LaFleur brother to run it. LaFleur. to that offense to be the offensive coordinator, man, there's some creative things that might come out of that offense next year. I'm not saying they're gonna be good, but they're gonna be playing from behind. They got some wide receivers.
As I said, the draft started like 3 picks ago. So hey, man, like anything can happen. Like, so might as well have a sip of whiskey and fucking let's just go, man.
Let's fucking go, buddy. All right.
Who's next up?
So at 111, we got Jordberg. Yes.
So another guy that is very interesting, and this is why I said the draft started, blah blah. He's traded for 2 younger wide receivers so far.
Very active, yes.
Right? He's been very active. Oh man, Jordan's been dude. If you don't think Jordan's trying to win right now, he made the Michael Thomas trade that was so aggressive. He's gone Kamara that's so aggressive. He's trying to do this.
A lot of finagling from that team.
But he's gone 2 wide receivers. He traded 2 picks, right, for wide receivers. So my gut says again he wants to do running back. The problem is, as I get back to my original point, there's only 3 good running backs in this draft. There really is only 3 running backs that are good in this draft. So now it gets really confusing. It gets a little interesting. It's a little spicy because he doesn't need a quarterback, in my opinion. He's got Mayfield. He's got Burrow, who looked incredible and needs his line. So Burrow's this is actually
next year. So yeah,
this is a hard. Yeah, but Burrow was a stud to begin with. So this is a hard one. This will be a landing spot pick. I know that's a cop out, but I actually think he might decide to go Kenny Gainwell out of nowhere. Let's go. He needs a running back. He needs a running back. He needs a running back.
He needs a running back very badly. I mean, outside of his big 2, like Edwards-Helaire, he could be the starter, but he's probably going to be splitting carries.
Could go Carter, and then I actually, this will come up later on, but and I don't even care. Anyone can listen to this if anyone's listened to it. I'm a huge Simeon guy, but I think he goes. I think he needs a running back. He might as well take a prospect. He just traded away Antonio Gibson to man up. So yeah, I'm going Gainwell here, Shane House.
Wow. Okay. So this draft's going off the rails compared to the consensus rankings because there's no other running back going until at least
he doesn't need one.
Anything I've read.
Hey man, that's the point of this little thing.
Yeah. Well, and the one thing I think we can both agree on is that the majority of people in this league are fucked and will have the balls or the cowardice to make these types of picks.
Yeah, let's remember another thing. Somebody drafted, Brandon Ayuk 4th overall. So who knows what's gonna happen, man? We might see Rashad Bateman go 2nd overall.
Buddy, I think your fucking ears are ringing because our last pick of the 1st round mock draft, which by the way is sponsored by the smooth and delicious Jackrabbit Lager, is the 112, which is Zach Bazak, aka reaching for Ayuk.
No, let's hear a little bit more. Let's look. I need a little. Let's go.
A little bit more. What?
As long as you talk about what he picked, because we're gonna piss him off no matter what.
Well, I mean, he's always pissed off.
Let's hear it. He
lives in Innisfil. It is what it is. So, no, Ayuk came out okay. I'm just saying. A lot of people are saying he could have got better value, but hey, just me. So at 112, here's the thing with Baz.
Oh man, we might need to start another hour.
Here's the thing with Baz. He's one of these guys on paper, right? On paper, every year, it's like, you read down the list, you look at the names, and you're like, fuck, like this guy's got a good fucking team. But then every year since he won his championship, the same thing happens. And it's just the bottom falls out of it. And by the end, there's a husk of a team that just can't get there and just ends up with this fucking middle pick. And then they just end up like reaching for a running back that clearly can't get him to the promised land. And it's so like he's got to start building a foundation where
For the running backs? Or
yeah,
like
like
you seem like you haven't even said anything, but like
just in general.
are you saying
I'm
Carter?
talking,
Like you're starting to hover around Carter here, man.
No. So I'm going a different route with this. So I personally like the guy has George Kittle. He's a stud, but he gets injured, right? He's got his backup Jordan Reed.
No.
And then Richard Rogers is there too. He might not be on a team this year. I don't fucking know. But the other thing is, well, too.
Oh no.
Baz makes a lot of trades. I don't know if you know this. He's a scrambler. And what scramblers do is they'll trade from a strength to deal with a weakness. So his strength right now, looking at his roster, after looking at everything he has, is his wide receiver position. So
Yeah,
I think this guy is going to go for a boomer bust prospect because he's got the depth there, and if he hits, he can use those assets.
Jamar Jefferson.
No, not Jamar Jefferson. He's going wide receiver, man. And I personally believe with this last pick, Elijah Moore.
That's my boy. That is my boy.
That's a lot of people's boys, and it's an upset because Rondale, in my opinion, is the better wide receiver. But everybody, some reason, people love Elijah.
Wait,
so I think
are we saying
go
right now? Did this just happen? By the way, did we just go through a first round where Elijah Moore was not drafted? Like, what the fuck?
Mean,
I gotta go back.
You talking about Rondale Moore?
Was Rondale Moore not drafted?
Rondale Moore was not drafted. No.
What?
All I gotta say is 201. This guy's sitting here. Baz is that fuck clearly from his draft last year. He is that fuck where he will take Elijah over Rondale.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
This is absolutely crazy, man.
It is crazy, but guess what? That's the beauty of mock drafts. Could be like you gotta do some home run hits, right? Like you gotta go big or go home with some of these picks.
If I can say one more thing within that, right? I don't know if we're gonna do two or whatever like that. I thought you're gonna go. You know what though, man? I thought you were gonna go in a different direction here, man. I thought that if you start looking at Aaron Rodgers, because he's going to be an amazing Jeopardy host, like fuck, man, that guy fucks, man. I thought maybe you were going Justin Fields there, just a little sneaky guy. Like he, Carson Wentz it's probably not the answer in fantasy football, and Rodgers is eventually going to leave. Like, man, my boy Jordan Love's sitting right there. I thought maybe you were thinking Fields there. I thought maybe, but all right, do your thing, bro. This is your own thing.
Here's the thing with Justin Fields, by the way, is that the guy, I've heard everything from he's got a photographic memory to has nobody showing up on his birthdays. So I don't know what the guy. I don't know. And that's causing him to fall, and that's why I went with the Zach Wilson pick.
Another recap, though, you see, let's you know what? I'll just say a point about the first round, and you cut it off whenever you want. If we're just doing one, but there's a lot of traction going on right now with Terrence Marshall, Jr., the first or the second, whatever that means.
The guy.
But like the fact that not one of us got him in the first year with this mock draft, that's interesting.
Are you going to take him above Rondale though?
If
you have the option between the two,
really, I would, because I think that you grabbed. So I mean, there's a lot of things to consider here. One, I was drafting for people that I don't think are very smart. Sorry, fellas. But like, I think there were some things here, man. Like Smith going, Waddle going there, and Bateman. That was a nice run of 3 wide receivers, and I think that, Wallace could somehow jump in there if you needed. If you needed a wide receiver, you could have something valued better than that. But personally, I think the hype's way too crazy with this guy, man. Like
Elijah Moore?
No, Wallace, man. Like, I get it, dude. He's big, he's strong.
Tylan Wallace, he's been getting way too much hype. I agree.
That's how you pronounce his name.
There's Terrence Marshall and then Tylan Wallace.
I'm saying Terrence Marshall, but again, I've had a couple of Coronas, again, sponsored by Corona here. Yeah, I thought that, again, like that guy, Heems, the LSU wide receiver, he's been going up draft boards. I think it's just ridiculous. I don't really see that. I consider Smith better. I consider Waddle better, and I consider Bateman better, and that's just me. But again, in that little streak of wide receiver we've seen, you could see him go up there.
And as you can see from our draft as well from last year, clearly people fall in love with somebody and they rise higher than what they should be.
Yeah,
right?
well, you even saying just Elijah Moore in the first round, like I've been on his dick for a long time, and for him to go first in a fucking rookie, that really surprises me, man.
Man, it's a realistic possibility though, because
What do you think?
he's rising a lot. And just if he gets drafted somewhere where he could pop and he has an opportunity, you and I both know how quickly people can jump up the rankings. And I feel like he's that type of guy where he will get drafted somewhere and he will just fire up from the mid seconds.
Marshall?
No, Elijah Moore.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing about Moore, and and I hate to say this because I really hate I'm not saying the landing spot, but I'm saying if you go draft Moore, it really depends on what your team needs right now. Like I think there's teams in Dynasty that need an alpha wide receiver. They need a big body. So if you need a big body, then go get Marshall Jr., right? Like go do that. And that that next tier of that, late one or early second, go get him, right? But if you have some of those guys, then go get more. Go get either one or more. Give me 2 more. Give me 1 more. Give me Drake more. Fuck, like. But like the thing is though, if you need someone like that, like especially with like if you look at my team, like then if you need an alpha, go get that. But if you need a good, wide receiver 2-3 in fantasy, then go get one of the Moors.
Yeah. That's very fair. It's man, I think between now and then, and we'll just finish off with this and then continue on with our drinking nights, is that I personally believe what's going to be happening with this is that between now and then, there is going to be 2, maybe 3 guys that jump up quite high in this draft. I feel like because of the depth at wide receiver, draft spot is going to be huge when it comes
exactly. That's
fair. Like there's going to be I like Kadarius Toney is a guy I've seen between high third, like a early third to like a late first. But that's a guy like that being drafted somewhere, somebody in our league could fall in love with that guy and just take him, right?
Couldn't agree with you more. And that's why I'm saying that once you get through those 3 running backs, and then even like Trevor Lawrence, Pitts, like the wide receivers in there after Chase, obviously, it gets very messy.
Muddled.
And literally it's going to depend on landing spots. And I will blame people and I will chirp people. Actually, never mind. Let me bring that back. But again, like it gets very, weird. Like again, I could easily say Bateman's number 2 wide receiver. Actually, sorry, number 3 because Pitts is in there. But Smith, right, Bateman, and then you're right. It gets this, wishy-washy kind of thing, man. It's like,
it's very even keeled, and I feel like the smallest thing.
Go get the wide receiver you want.
Yeah,
go get the wide receiver you want because it's the 3 running backs in the first round. It's Trevor Lawrence if you want later on in the quarterback 1, and it's Pitts, and that's pretty much it. Like, if you want to go like that's when it's going to get interesting. I think I said it earlier. The draft starts at what did I say, the 6th or 7th? Like that's when the draft starts, in my opinion, man. But hey, as I said, my whole conversation has been sponsored by Bud Light, and what else can I say, man?
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're end of the first round mock draft for the NFFL Invitational.
We did our best.
My name is Shane Gordonhouse, and this is Double D Van Paris. And hey, this is us signing off. Take her easy. Bye-bye.
Take her twice.